Hey guys. Okay, the purpose of this video is to just give you a little bit of information around how PHH phone structures work. As some of the COVID forbearance plans are becoming due and people are trying to transition into either a modification, some sort of deferment, or repayment plan or something, there's a lot more people calling PHH right now. And PHH has a really interesting way of working, and sometimes it's hard to know what's going on. So the first and most important thing to understand is that PHH will assign you what they call a single point of contact. They'll tell you you have a person assigned to your loan. Now, whether or not you're ever actually able to talk to that person or reach that person is not guaranteed. So it's not like they're a tiny lender that you have in your community where you can like go in and say like, oh, hey, Joe, I need to talk to you about my loan, right? Some of these people are overseas. Some of these people are in call centers and they're way overworked to the point where you may or may not ever get in touch with your customer relationship manager. That's another name for it, CRM or single point of contact. So you do have somebody assigned, they do have a name, they do have a phone number. When you receive letters from PHH, it will typically come from this person, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to get in touch with them. It's also not guaranteed that that person is going to stay the same. So we see PHH transitioning these customer relationship managers kind of one after another. They'll change them without notifying you. So you'll call in and, someone will say, oh, I want to talk to, Bob, who I thought was my customer relationship manager. And then they'll actually tell you, oh, you have a new one. So you have no control over who your customer relationship manager or single point of contact is. They change all the time and it's very difficult to get a hold of them. PHH does have a system where they will tell you that they can schedule an appointment for you with your customer relationship manager or with your single point of contact. So that's something that you may want to think about doing. The way that they do it is the scheduler will ask you for a particular time window, usually a window that you'll be available. They'll check it against your customer relationship manager's window to see if they're available. They'll put the appointment on the calendar. The number one most important thing here is to make sure you have a time zone conversation with the representative scheduling this appointment. A lot of times the representative will say something like 9 a.m. work, and then you say yes, but you're on Pacific Standard Time and they're on Eastern Time. So make sure you understand what time zone they're in to account for any discrepancies there. And then I would also say sometimes they just don't call you at the time that they're supposed to. PHH is known for getting overworked, booking these appointments, and then not being able to keep the appointments. So be available for your call if you do schedule an appointment. If you are not able to actually have an appointment with your person or speak to the person, there are other representatives that can help you. So the way PHH works is there's basically two big departments. They call one the customer service department and they call the other the loss mitigation department. Now, even if you try to call the loss mitigation numbers to get to a loss mitigation person at PHH, a lot of times without telling you, they just shove the call over to get to the customer service department. So if you are trying to talk to the loss mitigation people, which is who you need to talk to if you're in default and you're trying to work out a solution, do some sort of loss mitigation attempt, or if you have a COVID problem, you need to be in loss mitigation. That's the department. But because they kind of route these calls to customer service without telling you, a good first question when anybody answers the phone at PHH would be, am I in the loss mitigation department? And they will tell you, they're nice, and they'll say like, nope, this is customer service. And then they might want some more information from you, but your goal is always to get yourself transferred to a loss mitigation representative. The levels and information and the levels and how the loss mitigation representatives are able to work on the files varies from the customer service representatives. And a lot of times customer service representatives will present themselves as somebody who can help you with everything that you need, but all they really can do is make notes in the file and transfer the call. So you will receive better assistance if you can get yourself transferred to a loss mitigation representative. Once you're with a loss mitigation representative and you have questions about what's been going on, you always want to ask them to read the notes from the file. So asking general questions like, can you tell me what's going on, means that they're going to read the notes and then they're going to kind of translate in their mind what they think the notes say, and then they're going to kind of tell you general information. And so it's always best practices on lender calls, especially with a lender like PHH, to ask them to specifically read you the notes. And what the notes that they're reading are notes that underwriters have made on your loan. So if you're currently being reviewed for a modification or a short sale or something like that, there's underwriters, which are kind of back end people who are doing the numbers work, who are drafting documents for you, who are looking at things. They notate the file. As a front end person ourselves, we're never really allowed to talk to the underwriters. So the only way we can really know what the underwriters are doing is to ask to speak directly, or to ask to get the notes directly read that the underwriters make. So you ask them to read the notes. They'll read notes from the underwriters. They will also read notes that your single point of contact made. So if you're never able to get in touch with that point of contact person, that point of contact person is still making notes on your file. And so if the best that you can do, which is kind of the best we can do at times with PHH, just because of the sheer volume of phone calls they get, if the best you can do is get to a loss mitigation representative and you're trying to get an update on what's going on, ask them to read the notes. If you don't understand what they're saying, or if things aren't making sense after they read you the notes, that might be a good time for you to contact someone for some help who has a little bit more information about what's going on. You can, with PHH, always ask to speak to a supervisor. They do have supervisors available both in the customer service department and in the modification, loss mitigation department. However, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll say, yes, no problem, and then they'll transfer you to a supervisor's voicemail before you have a chance to say no voicemails. So if you're going to ask to speak to a supervisor, which is called, opening an escalation, make sure before you ask for it, you say, to be clear, I do not want to be transferred to anyone's voicemail. I'd like to speak to a supervisor, and then say, but no voicemails. And that should give you a better shot at them actually getting somebody on the line for you. If you feel like you are trapped in a situation that is spiraling out of control with PHH, it probably is. They are struggling right now with the volume of what they have going on and with communicating. And so you might want to seek some assistance from someone who can help you at least know what's going on with PHH. Good luck.